All right, guys, welcome to Flavo Rihanna's MMA show. I'm your host, Flavo Rihanna, brought to you by Four Corner Sports. All right, guys, so last night on the telecast of UFC 274, the UFC wanted to get far in ahead, and it was the perfect timing for them to announce their International Fight Week card, the pay-per-view that they normally hold on July, the early portion of July, okay? Last year, we had Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier, all right? This year, even though it's not Conor McGregor, we're still having a pretty global superstar headlining the event. Excuse me. And his name is Israel Adesanya, or if you want to say Adesanya, may that be, okay? So Israel Adesanya is fighting Jared Cannonier. Jared Cannonier last fought against Derek Brunson. He ended up defeating Derek Brunson by knockout, okay, back in February on that card. I believe that was UFC 272, if I'm not mistaken. It should be 272, okay? And Adesanya fought on that card. He also fought Marvin Vettori, okay? I'm sorry, not Marvin Vettori. I take that back. I'm sorry, Robert Whittaker for the second time. I knew he fought a rematch. Fought Robert Whittaker, went all 5 rounds, okay? It was a fight that I knew wasn't going to be like the first fight where Adesanya was going to crack Whittaker, and Whittaker was very, very smart. The only thing is Adesanya just was able to take away from Whittaker being able to strike properly and force Whittaker to go only use his left hand, okay? So that was the fight to make, Cannonier versus Adesanya. Me personally, I think, Adesanya is a good fighter. I like I like his style, but I honestly really do think the co-main event should have been the main event, and they should have flopped Adesanya. But I totally understand why they did that, because Adesanya is global. The guy has a shoe deal with Puma. He's the first MMA fighter to have a sneaker deal, a major sneaker deal. And, he's part of the UFC. So the UFC is really going to try to put him out there and stuff like that. They put a nice little promo up there. It was all Adesanya. All right. And then after that promo was over, they just showed Cannonier that the fight is going to be made. Okay. Adesanya is very tricky. I think he might be the best striker in all of mixed martial arts, regardless of promotions or anything. Oh, I'm sorry. The best striker in the UFC. Okay. I want to take that back before I get, eaten alive by people saying that, they're better strikers at one championship or Ryzen or this, that, and the third. All right, so he's the best striker in the UFC because I don't follow Ryzen and one championship and stuff like that. He's the best striker in the UFC. All right, against Jared Cannonier. Jared Cannonier entered as a heavyweight, then made his way down to light heavyweight. Now he's a middleweight. I think Cannonier is strong. He can be powerful, but I just think Adesanya knows this game way too well. He knows what he needs to do when he's inside that octagon. I think if he's able to fight from the outside, chip away, use leg kicks, low calf kicks, and stuff like that, make Cannonier a stationary target, I would imagine by give or take the 3rd or 4th round, that's when Adesanya will just light it up and just catch Cannonier coming in forward or going backwards, just because of the fact that when Adesanya can catch you, you going forwards or you going backwards, doesn't matter. I personally do have it as Adesanya winning by knockout against Jared Cannonier. All right. Plus, I really do think he does need a knockout, just because we've seen the performances he has had as of late. Decision victory over Whittaker. Decision victory over Vettori last year, okay? Knocked out Paulo Costa. He was in one of the worst title fights in UFC history against Yoel Romero, okay? I know it takes 2 to tango, but still, he was still part of that tango, all right? And knocked out, he ended up knocking out Whittaker to win the undisputed middleweight title, and then ended up defeating Kelvin Gastelum. I believe that was by decision, if I'm not mistaken, in that interim title fight, which that was one of the best fights in UFC history. So that's just weird. Adesanya is in the picture of one of the worst title fights in UFC history, and also in picture in one of the best title fights in UFC history. Go figure. All right. Cannonier, I think Cannonier's going to have to do something where I don't see him doing this, but Cannonier's going to have to figure out a way to take him down and hold him down and just grind it and pound him away. Just smash him. But I just don't see Cannonier doing that. I think that's the only way that he could stop Adesanya. He's not going to be able to defeat him in a kickboxing match because Adesanya will just pick him apart, and twice on Sundays, okay? Adesanya has so many different ways that he could go about this, and it just favors Adesanya. Cannonier wanted the title shot. He deserved the title shot, and, he's finally going to get it, okay? Co-main event, all right? Now, we been wanting to see this fight. We deserve to see this fight. First fight, what's it called? I picked it. All right, this guy won. Second fight, I scored it for Max Holloway. And yes, we are getting the trilogy fight of Alexander Volkanovski versus Max Holloway. Okay, trilogy fight. Now Volkanovski is 2-0 in the series. First victory he got was in the December card in 2019, UFC 245. I clearly saw it as an Alexander Volkanovski win. There was no doubt about that whatsoever. I had Volkanovski winning. I believe it was 3 rounds to 2 or 4 rounds to 1. I gotta double check on my notes. Okay. Second fight, that was in the first Abu Dhabi card. When they were promoting Fight Island, Yaz Island. Okay, during the pandemic, I had Max Holloway winning. I had Max Holloway winning 3 rounds to 2, but the judges scored it very differently. They really, were deeply invested into the leg kicks and stuff like that, and they gave it to Volkanovski. Okay, now fast forward 2 years later, and we're finally gonna get the rematch. We were supposed to get the rematch last year. All right, I believe it was no. I'm sorry. We're supposed to get the rematch earlier this year in April, but Max ended up getting hurt. Okay, totally understand that. All right, Max was able to recover, but he was just sitting in the sidelines at that point. And Volkanovski ends up fighting the Korean Zombie. The Korean Zombie, he had his little run and stuff like that. That was his second title shot. First title shot, he ended up losing to Jose Aldo. Gets dominated, and it was a one-sided, traffic when it came to Volkanovski. He just obliterated the Korean Zombie inside the 4th round. And then thank God that we had Herb Dean that just stopped the fight, because there was no need for the Korean Zombie to endure that much more damage, because Volkanovski was just implying it on him. All right, now in this trilogy fight, how I think this is gonna go? Well, we seen Max against Calvin Kattar and Yair Rodriguez, right? He fought Kattar, he fought Yair Rodriguez. Okay, both I think were phenomenal fights. I mean, he dominated Kattar. He made Kattar, fall back. And backpedaled throughout the entirety of the fight. And then Yair Rodriguez wasn't scared whatsoever. He ended up, giving it to him. I just think that Max's way of fighting, he's going to have to endure those leg kicks, because Volkanovski's going to definitely go for it. All right. But he's also going to have to force Volkanovski to step back a little bit. Volkanovski likes to pressure you, and then, pretty much sort of in a blitz type of manner. I think that Volkanovski, right, he has ways to go about it. He could take Max down and stuff like that. Max is not a grappler. I don't expect him to grapple or anything like that. The way I see Max winning this fight, I think he's going to have to attack the body a little bit. He's going to have to attack the legs, but he's going to have to go up and down, up and down, up and down. All right. And, just throw a large volume amount of punches like how he normally does. All right. If he's able to, pressure Alexander Volkanovski in that manner, then I can see him winning this fight. But Volkanovski has heavily improved. Right now, I wouldn't be surprised if the betting odds in Vegas have Volkanovski winning as a favorite as of right now. I'm just throwing a number up there, but who knows? Maybe Vegas has him, I don't know, a plus 175 favorite, all right? Which I think that's a little bit absurd. But, Volkanovski's up 2-0. I can see the betting public picking Volkanovski over Max. But I'm in the camp of Max just because I'm a Max fan. I do believe that Max has a couple of ways and has a good possibility of defeating Volkanovski. He may be the only featherweight to defeat Volkanovski. And nonetheless, guys, come this July, this could possibly be Max's last fight at 145. just because what's left for him at this point? To fight what? People like Josh Emmett? To fight, rising contenders and stuff like that? Your Giga Chikanses, your Shane Burgos, and stuff like that. Your Arnold Allens. This honestly might be his last fight at featherweight. All right. And then after that, he might move up to lightweight. That's if he loses the fight. All right. And then UFC ended up coming out. They ended up announcing that Sugar Sean O'Malley, he's making his return. All right. He's going to fight Pedro Munhoz. He wanted a ranked guy. He's getting a ranked guy. And I'd love to see it. Look, guys, when Sean O'Malley is fighting, I don't care what's going on. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch that fight by all means necessary, all right? Because he's exciting, even though, he's made a history of fighting cans and stuff like that. As you guys would like to say, fighting your Chris Moutinho's, all right? Your Eddie Wylands, okay? He lost to Marlon Chito Vera, and now you see what Marlon Chito Vera is at in his career. He's inside the top 5. But you see Sean O'Malley right now, he's going to fight Pedro Munhoz. Pedro Munhoz is a tough guy. He might be a tough out, all right? He had a very competitive fight against Jose Aldo at one point, all right? I don't see this being one-way traffic with Sean O'Malley, but I could see Sean O'Malley winning 2 rounds to 1. And I could see, Pedro Munhoz putting O'Malley into different adversities that he's not going to feel comfortable with. But I heavily do favor the striking of O'Malley to carry him into a fight against a Pedro Munhoz, okay? And then we have Miesha Tate versus Lauren Murphy. That's always fun. Miesha Tate dropping down to flyweight to fight Lauren Murphy. Lauren Murphy last year ended up fighting for the title. She's been on a losing skid as of late, but this is an exciting fight. I personally do think that if Miesha Tate wins this fight against Lauren Murphy, the next fight that Miesha Tate is in a fight in at 125 pounds is against the champ, which is most likely going to be Valentina Shevchenko, as she fights Tyler Santos next month in Singapore. There's a couple of fights. You got Uriah Hall, Andre Muniz, Jessica Eye versus Macy Barber. Guys, you guys know that I'm a huge Macy Barber fan. All right, I love when Macy Barber fights. I think that she's a phenomenal, up and coming prospect at the flyweight division. Do I think that she's going to be champ at some point? I wouldn't be jumping on that bandwagon as of yet. But she's a tough girl. She loves to grapple. She loves to strike. She loves to throw that elbow when she's inside that clinch. All right. We got Brad Tavares versus Dricus du Plessis. Okay. Robbie Lawler is making his return. All right. Against Brian Barberena. Brian Barberena, last time we saw him, he was in Columbus, Ohio. He ended up having his matchup. Okay. And the last time we saw Robbie Lawler was against Nick Diaz. All right. And that was 185 pounds. Look, whenever Robbie Lawler fights, it's going to be chaos. And I see this fight being a barn burner. All right. Like good old JR would say. Who else am I missing from here? I say Uriah Hall Muniz, Brad Tavares versus Dricus du Plessis. Well, that's actually going to be a good middleweight fight. And then lastly, I know I didn't mention this fight, but I'm going to mention it right now. All right. Sean Strickland is going to be fighting. Yes, we haven't seen him fight in quite some time. He was supposed to fight Luke Rockhold for the November card at Madison Square Garden. It didn't happen. Sean Strickland is going to be fighting Alex Pereira. All right. Now, this screams everything that the UFC is going to try to put Pereira, give him the rub. All right. So if he defeats Sean Strickland, then you're getting him closer and closer and closer for him to fight Israel Adesanya. Because honestly, as much as I don't really care for Adesanya, we all know that Adesanya is going to defeat Cannonier. We all know this, all right? But this card is so good that we need to watch it, all right? I don't know if Alex Pereira is going to be able to defeat Sean Strickland because Strickland is an animal, all right? This guy's crazy. This guy's a lunatic. This guy loves to endure pain, but he loves to hurt people, okay? And when I see Alex Pereira fight, I really do think that this man really enjoys to hurt people. So you're going to have two people inside that octagon trying to hurt each other, inflict so much pain possible. Sign me up, inject the violence into my veins, because I can't wait to see stuff like that. All right, who I favor in that matchup? You guys are gonna have to wait until the card approaches, because I'm not giving you my answer for that one. All right, but great card overall for UFC 276. Dana, you did a great job. All right, bravo. Love to see it. All right, I know tickets go on sale. May 13th? I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't mind dropping a good amount to go out to Vegas to see that fight. But what's it called? You never know. All right. But until then, guys, that is my announcement. All right. UFC ended up announcing a killer of a card: Israel Adesanya versus Jared Cannonier, Alexander Volkanovski versus Max Holloway III. Okay. Sean Strickland versus Alex Pieta. Sean O'Malley versus Pedro Munhoz. It's going down this summer. Can't wait. Can't wait to watch it. Until then, guys, I am Flavo Rihanna. I'll see you guys next time. Peace, guys, and have a good one. See you.